Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome back to another Wentworth Top 10 video. Now, in today's video, I have put together a list of episodes that ended on insane cliffhangers that literally had me screaming at my TV screen. You know those cliffhangers that literally has your heart pumping and you literally end up creating insane theories in your head for what's gonna happen the following week. Now in this list I am not going to be including season final episodes as I have already made a list of the season finals, and what I'll do is I will leave a link to that particular video at the end of this one if you would like to go and watch it. Okay, so kicking this list off at number 10 is season 1 episode 8. So this is the tragic episode where Braden Holt administrates a fatal dose of heroin to B. Smith's daughter Debbie and leaves her there alone in her bedroom to die. Now I can remember being so shocked when I first saw this moment. I mean, I'm a big fan of Prisoner Cell Block H, and I always knew in the back of my mind that Debbie is going to die just like the original one, but when that time came, I was just not expecting it to be as graphic and so chilling. It was quite upsetting watching a teenager laying down in her bed, shaking and vomiting from her mouth. I mean, I cried when I first saw this scene and I could not wait to see what was going to happen in the next episode. I mean, this was the time where you couldn't get any spoilers about Wentworth, and I will admit, it used to drive me insane. I would literally be counting down the days waiting to see what happened the following week. Now, apart from Wentworth's very first episode, I think this was probably the first time that an episode had properly ended on a cliffhanger, and boy, did they deliver. At number 9, and it's season 6 episode 9. So this is the moment where Will, Jake and Vera all go back to that place where Will had buried Joan Ferguson alive. It was a moment we were all waiting for. Did Joan manage to actually get out of that box? So at the end of this episode, it's quite a chilling scene where Will and Jake, they take turns digging up this box, and then Will hits the box with his shovel. Now, when he bends down and opens up that broken lid, we see a dead face inside it. Now, just as the episode ends, someone is in the bushes taking photos. I can remember my head was spinning by the end of this particular episode. I mean, I was convinced that it was Joan stalking Vera. I thought Joan had climbed out of that box at that moment in time, but then we saw the dead body, but I can also remember thinking that the dead body doesn't look like Joan, but then I've never really seen many corpses in real life. But I was also thinking, who's taking these photos and what does this now mean for Will, Jake and Vera? Oh, I can remember this storyline was driving me insane because I really wanted to know what the hell was going on. I was so confused. So when this episode ended, I was once again counting down the days to see the next episode because it was an absolutely brilliant, confusing cliffhanger. At number 8, and we have season 8 part 2 episode 4. Now, we all know that Judy Bryant is one of my least favorite characters in the whole show. So when the penny finally dropped for Ali at the end of this episode, I was like, yes, Judy is finally going to get hers. But Ali played a clever game. Rather than tell the H1 girls what she found out, Ali stayed quiet. And when Judy came skipping back into the unit looking like an absolute bellend, telling everyone some good news that she'd received from her solicitor, Ali just had this juicy look on her face. And Judy then comes down towards Ali and says something like, "This never would have happened if it wasn't for you. Thank you." And then Judy proceeds to give Ali a kiss on her cheek, and I just love the look on Ali's face in this very moment. I was so excited to see what was going to happen next, because I just knew that Judy's time was coming. She was finally going to get hers. At number 7, and it's season 7, episode 1. Now, this is definitely one of the best opening episodes to the seasons of Wentworth, but the way this episode actually ended literally had me screaming, and I was in floods of tears. Now, of course, I'm talking about Rita and Ray's wedding ceremony that was about to take place in Wentworth. However, oh God, when Ray was about to come through those front gates, a mystery assailant comes down on a motorbike and pretty much shoots Ray twice in the chest and dies. Vera then tells Rita what's happened just as Rita is standing at the altar, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. I can remember thinking, oh my God, Rita is literally going to rip Mari apart in the next episode, and I couldn't flipping wait to see what was gonna happen. This episode definitely left us on a shocker. At number 6, and it's season 4, episode 8, and my God, this was a shocking cliffhanger of an episode. This is the episode where Joan Ferguson tries to kill B. Smith for the first time by drugging her and then trying to drown her by sticking her head in a sink full of water. Now, when B was in that sink of water, she was in there. She was in that water for bloody ages. Ali, Kaz, and some of the girls, they come to the rescue, and Kaz, she ends up burning Joan's hand in some hot oil, but we were left with a lifeless B. Smith on the ground with her eyes open. She was looking like she was dead. We had Joan Ferguson screaming in pain, rolling around on the floor. It's the least that she bloody deserved, if you ask me. But Kaz is then busy fighting off officers, and everything that was unfolding in front of our eyes was just insane. And I really did scream at my TV when those end credits popped up, because I was like, no, you cannot leave us hanging like that until next week. Absolutely crazy. At number 5, and it's season 8, part 2, episode 2. Now, this one has been popping up on quite a few of my lists recently, but that's because it's absolutely amazing. So the ending of this episode was crazy. Not only did Lou Kelly kill Sheila Bausch in one of the most brutalist ways ever, but she then admitted to it in front of everyone. She then went crazy and declared herself as top dog. Now, she was then dragged out of the dining room, screaming and going crazy. And then the ending to this episode, it's just one of those moments where your mouth pretty much hits the floor and you just get totally lost in the insanity of what's happening in front of you. And then the credits roll and you're like, no, I need to see what happens next. I mean, the writers and the makers of Wentworth, they know how to keep us wanting more, don't they? And this episode is the perfect example. At number 4, and it's season 7, episode 2. Now, this is the moment where Kaz Proctor tries to blow up Mari Winter. This scene is just incredible. Everything from the moment where Kaz is tipped over the edge after she catches Ali Novak about to take some heroin, and then the music that they use is just whoa. I mean, this is the moment where Kaz, she had enough. She really did, and she wanted Mari dead. Now, I can always remember in the trailer for season 7 where we saw someone lighting a pipe bomb. None of us really knew what the story was behind it. That was until when this scene dropped. Now, when Kaz rolls that pipe bomb into Mari's cell and then just walks away so casual, and then we see the explosion in the distance coming through the cell window, I had goosebumps. I have goosebumps every time I see this scene. I was like, yes, this is what Wentworth is all about. And of course, the credits bloody rolled. And I was like, no, Stop doing this to us. We had no idea if Mari had been killed at this stage in season 7, and it just felt like war was proper brewing, and this is definitely one of the reasons why I absolutely love the bones of season 7. At number 3, and it's season 3, episode 1. Another amazing opening episode here, and it's the episode where the women take over the yard, take Vera hostage, break B out of the slot, and then B goes head to head with Joan Ferguson in the yard, telling her that she doesn't run this prison. It's literally the perfect opening episode of all time, followed by a killer of a final scene that literally has you cheering and gasping at what you're watching. I was really shocked at how eventful the very first episode was. I was not expecting any of it to happen in that first opening scene, and I was super excited after seeing this first episode. And when it ended with Joan just standing there at the bonfire that the women had created, my brain went into overdrive of theories of what was gonna happen next. I was just so excited I didn't want to wait another week to see what happened next. This episode had me so pumped, and it earned its spot on this list. At number 2, and it's season 2, episode 11. Oh my god. Okay, this was, and I know I use this word a lot, but this was an insane episode. It literally could have been a season final episode, that's how crazy it was. Now, the final scene in this crazy episode always gives me goosebumps. Now, the scene where B walks through the hospital, while it's also cut into Liz opening the box that reveals a gun, and then the music changes and it's so dramatic, and my mouth was literally on the floor catching flies when I first saw this. It's like everything that had been happening in the past 10 episodes of season 2 finally made sense, and it came together beautifully. Now, the episode ends with B walking down the street and, of course, into the night, which is the name of the episode, with some of the most incredible background music that I think I've ever heard on any TV show. And I really did not want to wait another week to see the season 2 final. I can sort of remember I was kind of Googling episode leaks and all sorts. I mean, I knew there wouldn't be, but I think I was just that desperate to see what happened next, and I just couldn't cope. Absolutely brilliant. And at my number 1 spot now is season 7, episode 9. Now, when I say I almost lost my mind after seeing that final moment in this episode is an understatement. So, this is the episode where Officer Sean Brody has taken the women hostage in the laundry along with Linda Miles and Vera Bennett, and towards the end he's pointing a gun at Vera and telling Will that he will shoot Vera if he doesn't lift the lockdown. Now, the intense level during this final scene is off the scale. Just throw that out there. You got Will saying, "Give it up, Sean," and then you got Sean who is screaming at Will to open their fucking airlock while he's pointing and shaking this gun at Vera. And let's not forget, Vera was heavily pregnant during these siege episodes. Now, the episode then ends with Sean pointing that gun at Vera, and then eventually he pulls that trigger and a load of blood splatters all over his face, followed by a load of horrifying screams from the women. Now, the episode ends and we don't actually see who Sean has just shot, and we are then forced to wait a week to see what happened next. Oh guys, I almost went insane. I mean, the theories that were going around in my brain were also insane. I can actually remember I was thinking things like, oh my god, Vera's been shot, and now the women, they're gonna have to maybe cut Vera open and get the baby out. Like, honestly, this is the sort of stuff that was going through my head at that time while we were waiting to see what happened next. I mean, we didn't even see Sean turn his gun at any angle or anything, because it isn't revealed until the following episode that he had actually shot and killed Costa, because Costa was sitting just next to Vera. But those writers and the makers of Wentworth, They made us all think that it was Vera, a pregnant Vera, who had been shot, and wow, it was crazy. It's one of the best episodes of all time, the 2 Siege episodes, and yeah, this is why this end of episode cliffhanger is at my #1 spot today. And that was my top 10 favourite end of episode cliffhangers that had me screaming at the TV. So, guys, what did you think of today's list? Is there anything on this list that you agree or don't agree with? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. Okay then guys, well, we've come to the end of the video, so if you're still here, then thank you guys, thank you for sticking around. I'm always like super grateful to anyone who watches my videos until the very end. You're all absolutely amazing. I will be back with more Wentworth content very soon, so make sure you have that subscribe button turned on. Make sure you stay safe out there guys, and I'll see you all again very soon.